Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Yappily Ever After. This is episode 4. This episode, Sarah and I are going to mix it up, and we're taking it to some user questions. We went into the depths of Reddit to understand what are the wedding engaged couples thinking about these days, and we're going to try to tackle some of the most interesting, weird, off-the-wall questions, or maybe the most frequent questions. Honestly, I haven't seen all of these. Sarah went into a deep dive, and we'll see what comes from all the crazy things people put on Reddit. But I'm your host. I'm Hannah Roze, the founder and CEO of Plannerd.
And I'm Sarah, the head of marketing for Plannerd.
Woo! Okay, let's get into it. I'm so excited to hear what some of the things are that the people are wondering. Okay, give it to us.
There's a lot. So we're starting the Reddit rundown, which is kind of just like what our up and coming brides are stressing out about or looking for advice on. I noticed that a lot of the trends are very similar. So this is kind of just a rundown of what we found on Reddit this week.
Cool. I'm excited.
Yeah. So the first one, and this was like a huge one, it was, what should I be doing for my 2026 summer wedding right now in this moment?
That is such a valid question, especially given your wedding timeline. For those who don't know, Sarah is planning her wedding right now. It's August 2026. So maybe the best answer is, what are you doing right now? You've been way ahead of the game also.
I was just going to say, initially I was like, oh, well, I know what I've done. And then I paused and I was like, okay, normal people should be asking this, because they haven't planned a wedding before. I've obviously attended so many weddings and have a little too much knowledge on this. So me personally, I have all of my vendors booked and my save the dates are out. And now I'm working on invitation suites and the next step of guest count and all of that kind of stuff and fine tuning the details. What I think people should be focusing on just as a whole is getting all of their big hitting vendors booked. So your photographer, your videographer, wedding planner, if you don't have one already,
band or DJ, even
that kind of stuff. Venue should definitely be locked down. So if you haven't done that, at least do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say big hitting vendors.
Yeah, it seems like it could really depend based on what people's priorities are. If you are huge into, well, not only priorities, but do you want your guests to eat? Then you should lock that down ASAP. But then beyond the core things of venue, catering, then it's what would you be really heartbroken about if you didn't get this one particular vendor or a particular, caliber of vendor who's going to slowly whittle down as you get closer and closer to that date. So self-reflection necessary.
I completely agree. Yeah. It definitely comes down to priorities, I think. But also you should be locking things in now because you're 8 months away.
Yeah. What is the shortest time frame of a wedding that you've worked on personally?
Ooh, someone planning?
Yeah.
I had someone book me. I'm a wedding photographer, for those that don't know. I had someone book me 6 weeks before their wedding. Wow. And it was a fluke accident. She knew it too. She was like, I just didn't know when people should book these things. And I was like, just so you know, if there's any other vendors you haven't booked, get it done, because this is just an accident. I was actually supposed to be gone on a trip and then ended up not going, which is the only reason that I had the weekend available. So she got very, very lucky. And the wedding ended up, it was beautiful. It was at a winery in, I don't remember where it was, somewhere in California. But yeah, that one scared me. So I do occasionally see the brides who are just nobody told me, I don't know. But it doesn't happen often, which is
weird. I feel that's one part of using Plannerd, that the timeline can really help you understand what you need to do and when, because that's the number one thing. You get engaged and then you go to Google and you type in wedding planning checklist and you try to understand, what am I supposed to do first? So we can help you with that. 2026 brides, hopefully you listen to that. Okay, what's next?
What's next? Okay, this one I kind of felt was a personal attack because we love it so much, but it said, wine burgundy and bright green chartreuse color schemes. Do we think this is the new white and green floral trend, or will it be outdated in a year and a half?
Huh. Interesting. Okay. Wine burgundy or bright green chartreuse?
Wine burgundy and bright green chartreuse, like that combo of like the like wine color rich stuff with like the bright green greenery, which I do think was a massive trend for 2025.
Well, like chic Barney.
Yes, that's exactly. It's chic Barney.
Okay, Barney chic. I feel like this one is. I'm gonna try this on for size. I think it's more of a trend rather than a here to stay moment, because I feel like purple and green as the overarching colors, burgundy, whatever, like purple and green, I think will become more of a time as a combo, more so than something like white and green floral.
I agree. Yeah. I totally agree. Well, and like I've really had fun with this theme. Like you'll see it all over the Plannered Instagram page because it really did have a moment in 2025.
Yeah.
But I agree, it's like a little too niche. It's not timeless. It's kind of like for 2026, I see a lot of people kind of doing similar things with like I'm very much leaning into like pink and green, and that's really fun, but I know that it's not going to age well. It's very much like time stamped because of it. So it kind of just depends on if you want it to be super, super timeless, to me, that's boring, but be my guest, go all white.
Yeah.
If you want it to stand out for the moment and you don't care about looking back and, it being a trendy moment, then like go trendy.
And that's the thing that I think people miss about timeless is there's really no such thing as timeless. Like, yeah. I think everything is going to be of its age, and that doesn't mean that it's a bad thing or that it's not beautiful or aesthetic in the moment. And also, if you're going to be on trend, then you're inherently capturing a certain moment and living in it intentionally, because that's the whole point of a trend is it comes, it goes, and you're right in the wave or in the vein of what you're like attaching yourself to aesthetic wise. So I think people should let go of like, is it 2026? Right? Like, who cares? Just do it because you love it.
Well, and like look back at like, think about your like parents or your friends' parents' wedding photos. They look generally the same. You see the 80s big sleeves and stuff because that was the times. It's not like you're going to look back and be like, oh, I have no idea if that was the 80s or the 2000s. It's like, you're going to know generally what era the wedding happened in, even when you compare like early 2000s weddings to now. Like you can see the difference no matter what like the floral colors were and stuff like that. So
100%.
I'm pro lean into trends. Have fun with it.
Totally. Even with me looking through a lot of my wedding photos for our plannered content and whatnot, even my wedding was in 2022. I'm not going to say dated, but like you can sense that it wasn't from yesterday. Like, and that's not a bad thing. I think it is just, things are of a time, and let it live. So yeah.
Yes, let it live. Okay, number 3. This one I actually found a lot of people were popping off about this. Tough times in the economy. Everything feels like it's getting more expensive. Are weddings even worth it anymore?
Oof, girl, that's a good question. Man, I think the thing is, it is so easy to get swept up in the momentum and the wave and the energy of what you're planning, and you forget to even take a moment to think about why you're doing it or what you actually want. If you want the big wedding, there are ways to do it in a budget-friendly way. There are ways to do it if you're ready to splurge. But the most important thing is that you have taken that moment to understand what you and your partner want and what your families are on board for. And if you don't want the big wedding and you could save money, there is nothing wrong with doing a micro wedding or eloping or courthouse. Like you could get some bomb photos of you going to the courthouse and still feel like you got to participate in the world of weddings with your outfit and your bouquet and all the things. So
exactly what I was going to say. I feel like, yes, the economy is kind of crazy right now, and it hasn't started to come back down. Therefore, and I'm seeing a lot of posts on social media just in general about how 2026 was slower or is going to be slower, and 2025 wasn't like fully up to speed because things are more expensive and stuff. But I think what we're going to see is like a shift in how people view weddings. I think you're going to see more very cool small events and things like that. I don't think weddings are going to disappear by any means. I think they're just going to look different. I don't think they're going to be the 250 person blowout event. You'll still see some of those, but that really comes down to like a budget part of it. I think you're going to start to see more like creative wedding styles. But yes, I would say don't write off weddings altogether. Don't write off weddings. You can still do a very cool. Some of the best weddings I've attended are like the tiny ones that are like really fun with like 15 people.
Yeah, definitely. And I hope that people aren't going into huge amounts of debt for this sort of thing, because like it is an amazing day, but I'll be the first person to say keeping it in the context of your life is also super important. Yes. And to just check in with yourself from time to time over the course of the planning. Are we overspending? Are we overextending ourselves? I had a good family friend who they put a deposit down on their venue. They were full steam ahead on like the very kind of traditional format of a wedding. And then halfway through planning it, like locking down vendors, they decided this is actually not what we want. And they ended up eloping in Vegas.
See?
So like you can change your mind at any point. I mean, hopefully not after like 1 million deposits have been given, but you could change your mind at any point. And I think empower yourself to do that, people.
I fully agree. And don't lose yourself to wedding planning. Trevor and I were just talking about this last night. Like, there is a fine line between like what you guys want and then like all of the outside critiques of like family and like what everybody else wants. So don't lose what you guys want to, what everybody thinks it should be, basically.
Yeah. Do you feel like your wedding has become about anyone else other than you guys yet? Or
funny that you say that. Absolutely. I just feel like I have hit the limit where like now that it's like save the dates are out, everyone knows it's happening. All of a sudden, I just feel like I'm hit with like everybody else's opinions. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, are you really gonna do? I'm like, what? Like, what do you mean? Am I really gonna do? Like, yeah, yes, I am. Absolutely. And that's kind of throwing me off. But like, that's literally what started the conversation that we had last night about that. Because I was like, okay, at the end of the day, it's what we want. It's what's gonna make us happy. And I think it's also really hard with like big families. Like both of us have really big, loud, fun families, which is great. But we really want it to be about our like best friends that like very much have been a part of our story. And so it's hard for like families to realize that, especially when they don't necessarily know the friends, as well as we do. And they want it to be more family oriented. And it just depends on how you view like the important people in your own relationship.
Yeah, totally.
Lots of outside chatter.
Is the chatter about like what genre of opinions on aesthetic or guest list, or what is it?
All of it. Decor ideas. I've got everyone sending me like, oh my God, you must do this. And I'm like, okay, thank you so much. Noted. Thank you so much. Like I didn't pick out my linens and everything months ago. Thank you so much. Guest count. That was a really big one because we did kind of what we were talking about earlier with like, we wanted to make our wedding, yes, I guess technically it would be in like the luxury category, but we wanted to make it really, really cool for a small amount of people. So like I wanted our max guest list to be like 100 people. Of course it spirals and we're up to like, we sent out 122 save the dates. Still expecting it to land around like 100 to 115. Yeah. But that was really important for the two of us. And I think that has been the biggest thing that our families like don't love. Yeah. Is us like it's gonna be intimate because like I cut my mom's extended family, dad's extended, like anyone's extended family cut, anyone's immediate family there, like our mom's immediate family, dad's immediate family, both sides there.
Yeah, the guest list is like sneaky one of the hardest parts of the entire thing because there's so many emotions around it. I remember when we were making our guest list, my mother-in-law, who's the sweetest lady ever, she was like, if I don't invite my college roommate who I haven't seen in 15 years, I'm going to die. I was like, well, like, when did you see her last?
Nice. So that was another big thing. And I kind of already knew this, but it really helped Trevor. I was like, okay, when it comes to like every single person on here, I want them to have either like met us, you know, like know us, or like I do not want to introduce myself to people at my own wedding.
That's what I kept saying. That was the like my refrain over the entire thing. But I will say, after becoming a parent for the past year and a half, not even that long, I have thought way down the line to her wedding, and I'm like, when and if Brooklyn, my daughter, gets married, I would definitely want to invite all of our friends so that we could party at her wedding.
Yes.
So maybe I'm like already a monster-in-law, but yeah, I could see how like I could have been nicer to my parents or my husband's parents about inviting their friends, because now I kind of get it. Like they also wanted to party, and when I was thinking about it, I was like, I don't want your like friends who I've never met to be there.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Ours was just kind of a dance. It was like, okay, you know, let's pick our like parents' top like 6. It straight up became like MySpace top 8. I was like, okay, I'm gonna pick like, you know, the family friends that I've known since birth.
Mm-hmm.
Trevor did the same, and that's kind of how we did it with our parents. I was like, you guys get your, you know, 10 best friends, I get my 10 best friends, and like that's it. And then everybody else is just like family, and that's it. And that's how we kept it small.
Yeah. That is rough.
Pressure.
It's rough. Okay.
It is.
What's our next one?
What is our next one? Okay, this is probably the most frequent one that I was finding on Reddit, which is, what should I expect to pay for my wedding, and what is the actual average cost of a wedding in 2026?
Oh my God. Anytime someone asks me, and I feel like I get this question a lot as a CEO in the wedding world, is like, what's the average cost of a wedding? And I will be the first to tell you that that average number means pretty much nothing at all.
Nothing.
So you could look at that number, but it's kind of like mixing all the paint together, and then you're like, brown is the average of the rainbow. It's like, well, like there's going to be crazy luxury weddings, and there's going to be more budget conscious weddings. And then the average of that doesn't really represent across the board in the United States, or just, you know, broadly weddings. So I think it's more helpful to be contextualized within your market.
Yes.
So if you're thinking about your city, your state, your part of the country, and then thinking about that particular context rather than benchmarking yourself off of something that is fully out of context. Like if you go to, you know, The Knot has their annual big report that comes out, and they have all the annual numbers. I think those numbers are more for the wedding industry, but if you are a couple, I would pretty much just disregard any not annual, but like global or countrywide numbers, and just look at your market for the best info.
A lot of people they get overwhelmed with like, you know, you great, you booked your venue, but you don't factor in all the costs that come after that.
Yeah, totally. And the concept of looking at the percentage spend on a certain category, I think that percentage needs to also be in the context of your overall budget, because if you have a $30K budget, you might not be spending, you know, 10% of that on a photographer. Or if you have a $200K wedding, you're not going to spend 10%. Like that needs to be contextualized in the overall budget itself also. So I would say that's something else to dig into when you're thinking about how much to spend, or like what is normal. It's like, what's normal for my market? What's normal for my budget size? And then even could be further contextualized into venue type. Like if you're in a hotel ballroom versus a private estate, or at, you know, beachside or in a park or something, you're going to be bringing in a lot more rentals in one, and the other one might come with stuff. So those percentages could be changing there too. So lots to think about.
Lots to think about. But yeah, the general takeaway from that is there is no actual average of a wedding cost. Just do your research and prioritize what you want.
Yeah.
Okay, number 5. This one, I have a lot of thoughts on this one. I think you will too.
Oh, can't wait.
Okay, the title of it was I am sick and tired of weddings. And it says, it feels like weddings have gone from a one-day celebration to week-long obligations. Between multiple pre-wedding festivities to multi-day wedding events, the cost of just attending a wedding is now 4 figures plus.
Oh, preach.
Preach.
Completely. In my own experience, I think my husband and I were some of the first in our friend group to get married. So when we got married, I think there was a lot of excitement, and not only just in our friend group, but also because it was right after COVID. So people had been like sequestered and were ready to party. So when we did a multi-day thing, people were like fully there, excited, wanted to spend all the days together. But I think in this time now that we're out and about and have been for a few years now, that fatigue and the hesitance to spend would be very real, for sure.
Totally. And like Trevor and I we actually had very different viewpoints on this, because when we got engaged, he was very of the mindset of like, I want to do an engagement party. I want to do like, big joint bridal shower, things like that. And I'm like, okay, I am the opposite of that, where I'm like, I want to celebrate the people in our lives. I don't want them to have to be, put out by the fact that I'm doing all of these events. And like, then people feel obligated to get you gifts for every single one of these. And I'm like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like you don't need 5 different registries and like 5 different events prior to the actual wedding. I do really like the multi-day wedding thing, only because if you can turn it into kind of like an experience for people and make it worth them sticking around for the weekend.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. And I've had fun doing that, like for my friends' weddings and stuff, because it's fun to like go to a new place. Like one of my friends, we were talking about it yesterday, because my wedding is a destination wedding. And I kind of grapple with that too, because I'm like, I'm asking a lot of people to go to like, a small town in Montana. And she was like, no, you're not like taking into account that like, this is a really unique experience for a lot of other people. They get to go to this cool Western town that they probably only would see on social media, but didn't have a reason to go to. And then on top of that, you're creating like a 2-day experience. So people really get like the full experience. And I was like, okay, like that makes me feel better about it.
Yeah. That's a good way. That's a good way to frame it. I would also say, like, if you're going to have a destination wedding, and I feel like, to be honest, every wedding is a destination wedding these days, because it's, I think, less frequent for your entire guest list to be centered in one specific place nowadays anyway. So if people are going to make the effort to travel somewhere as a guest, I might be more annoyed if I flew all the way somewhere and there was just one opportunity to have a conversation with the couple, to connect with them. And also, if you're flying somewhere, it's likely that you're not flying in event and flying right out. Like, you're going to need a buffer day or two. So if you have multiple events, then you have multiple touch points to converse or connect with the other friends who who are at the wedding, and the couple themselves. So, but I'd also say, I mean, if you can't swing it, then don't
do it. Yes, if you can't swing it, don't do it. And from someone who's planning their wedding, if you can't swing it, I am not offended at all, because that's money back in your pocket. And I feel like people don't even realize that. Like, we're locking in all these vendors and they're like, oh yeah, like, final guest count is we'll figure it out like a month before the wedding. And I'm like, okay, so you're getting charged like per person. So if you can't swing it, who cares? Like, it's fine. It's still gonna be fun. It's still gonna be fun. No hard feelings.
Yeah, I just had to RSVP no to my incredible college roommate's wedding, which is in Miami, and I was so excited to go. But then I saw the date, and we're already traveling during that time. But I'm sure, I mean, it's going to be such an amazing time, and I can't wait to hear about it. But I was like totally torn up about having to RSVP no, and she was probably like, whatever.
Yes, like literally. And I have so many friends who are pregnant this year, and I've told all of them, I'm like, dude, no pressure. Like, if you can't make it, if you have a 1-month-old, like, I am not offended at all. If you can't come, you can't come. It's fine. We'll get drinks and celebrate later.
Yeah.
Okay, sixth and final one on our Reddit rundown this week. Ideas to make your wedding memorable. What is the coolest thing you have seen at a wedding? Could be guest favors, late night bites, ice cream station. What are we thinking?
Oh man, this is a great question. Okay, I'm gonna have to ponder this. Do you have any off the top of your head?
I have so many. There is one that I will give you guys, but I swear to God, if you do it at your own wedding, you better credit me because I'm doing it at mine, and it's one thing that I'm like so excited for. There is an event planner here, Page Events. And I actually asked her this because we were talking about how I was planning my wedding, and I was like, I'm looking for unconventional things to make my wedding fun because weddings to me are just so boring because it's my job. It's my daily job. And she got married. She's like, let me tell you what I did. And I'm like, tell me everything. And one of the things that she does at all of her weddings is between like all the dinner and speeches and stuff and dancing and like the next chapter of the wedding, they do tray passed espresso martinis, like mini espresso martinis. And I was like, that is the idea. And she was like, because everyone's been sitting there, you hear the long speeches and like all of that. You need to pick me up to like get back out there, get on the dance floor and get a few hours of dancing under your belt. And I was like, this is an amazing idea. So I am running with the mini espresso martinis for our wedding.
I'm so on board with that. I'm gonna get excited about that now.
That, and I do have another big one. The only info that I will give away is I am doing a variation of a hat bar.
Yes.
But that's all I'm telling people. But doing some type of like activity that gets people like involved and then also creates like a keepsake from the event. I feel like that's really cool.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot. Especially if it's something that they've had the opportunity to customize themselves rather than like from the early 2000s. I feel like every wedding we went to, it was like a koozie with the name and you just like put it in a drawer somewhere. But the one that I saw on Instagram recently was a live sushi hand roll station. Shout out to my friend from Emblem Events in New York. She did that at one of her weddings recently. And I thought that was a genius idea because it's not only interactive because you get to watch it, but it's very novel. Like you don't get to see that happen very often. And then you also get to eat it and it's fresh. And it's just a fun spin on like a food station of some kind. And also they did it, I think it was at the Bowery Hotel in New York, I want to say, but it was like dark and moody and vibey and the chef, it was great. So
I've never seen that one before. That would be a really cool one. I also I saw this one, I did one wedding where they had a tattoo artist and people could just get like mini tattoos. They basically had like a flash list and people could get mini tattoos. And I was like, that is so fun. A little excessive, but so fun.
I would totally be the one to get a tattoo that I would regret like the next day. Be like, why did I get the couple's initials on my arm? Like,
and that was they did like a custom list, and a lot of it did tie to like the two of them. But it could be cool. I love that kind of stuff that's like super unique, and you're not necessarily gonna like see it again. I think those are the things that people remember in the world.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think I will say there's something that I love about just really high quality music. And maybe that's like, I haven't actually been to a wedding that did this, but it would be cool if I did like a special musical guest where maybe they brought someone out for like a super short set. Our wedding planner actually was telling us about a wedding she planned where they had Snoop Dogg come to the wedding. And she told me his price, which I'll tell you later because I was like, oh. But Snoop Dogg came to the wedding and did like a little short set. That would be so memorable and so cool. So I'm waiting for my wedding invite where I have a musical guest, but that's
a fun one. I did when we initially started wedding planning, I fell down the rabbit hole of looking up what certain artists cost. Cause I was like, it'd be kind of cool if we could find, cause we'll be like, in a country setting. I was like, I bet you could find like a smaller country artist who'd be willing to do it. You can, like, there's some that like you could.
Everyone has a price. You just have to reach wherever it is.
It just depends on like, how you want to use your wedding budget. Yep. But it would be cool. And it did cross my mind for about 0.2 seconds.
Yeah, I think anytime you're getting someone out, it's like they're asking for some moolah.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thank you for the Reddit rundown. I think all of these are striking me as like questions that a lot of people have in mind about like budget, aesthetics, what am I supposed to be spending on? How should this be? So I'm glad we could touch on some of the most commonly held questions. And we might even build this in as like a recurring segment because I feel like Reddit is just full of crazy questions and there's just always the next thing coming up. So
yes, I love that. Speaking of loving that, on to our regular segment, which is Love It or Leave It.
yes.
Do you want to lead us off with the Love It or Leave It?
Yes. Okay. Love it or leave it. Imposing to ask your guests to wear a specific color or theme. Love it or leave it. Oh, actually, I love this. I've never been to a wedding where this happened, but I feel like giving direction, I love direction. I take directions well. If you give me an instruction, I will follow it. It's almost like the lack of instruction is more confusing than the specificity. Where if you're like black only, I'm like, perfect. Now I know what to filter my dress shopping for. Like only this color, only this, whatever. So I'm gonna say love it.
I love that you love it because mine has a specific color theme.
Woo!
This, I was like, oh no, are people like, do people think that this is imposing? I did it mainly because our setting is obviously Western and we're really, really, really leaning into wildflowers and like local flowers. And because of that, I just look at like the weddings that I've shot that I absolutely love are when there's like a dress code or like things are just really cohesive. And I felt like wildflowers is broad enough that it makes it like you still have plenty of options. You know, you can wear the yellow dress, wear the pink dress, wear whatever. But I wanted it to be colorful. So I made our dress code wildflower colors. And that includes guys. There's no black. I don't want to see any black at the wedding, but go crazy with color. And it's been interesting. I thought everyone would love it because I love it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are like, what do you mean I can't just go all black? And I'm like, well, it's going to be August. Like, live a little, have some fun with color. I didn't realize how many people are opposed to color.
Huh, interesting. I guess I mean, my mom is definitely one of those people where it's like my summer color, brown, but I think a lot of people are like that.
A lot of people are like that. And I was like, okay, well, you know what? They got options. They can do, if you want to be in a darker color, do a darker blue or something like that.
Yeah, I was invited to a wedding over the summer and the dress code was wear something you've never had the opportunity to wear. I was like, this is so broad. First of all, I love the creativity. So
very creative
for creativity, but it was so broad that it had me like really second guessing myself on what to wear. So then I just went like, I wore something fun. I got it off Rent the Runway. And then once I showed up at the wedding, I was like, okay, clearly everyone was confused because no one wore the crazy thing they've just never had. Like, I was glad I didn't go all out because I don't think anybody did, but that was one example of like, it was creative, but maybe it needed like two more bullet points of clarification.
Yeah. That would be a tough one. Well, and nobody wants to be like the most obnoxious in the room, you know?
Yes.
So that's
how about the weddings that are like try to upstage the bride? Have you seen that?
No.
Yes, I've seen this. Oh my God. I'll have to pull up an article. There was a few articles I was reading where it was like try to upstage the bride was the dress code. And they wanted everyone to go all out. And that just had me thinking the confidence of the bride or the couple to do that. They must have, first of all, know that your guests, bless you, know that their guests were going to be on board for that and have the like enthusiasm for it, but then also the confidence in what you were bringing to the table. It's actually pretty cool.
I kind of love it, but you would have to, I mean, yeah, you as the bride, you would have to be really confident that your dress was like stand out. No one's going to beat me, even if they try. I would love the challenge. Number 2, party favors for guests.
I'm going to say if it's meaningful, love it. If it is a check the box, we needed to have a party favor, people sniff that out immediately. And the phoning it in with like a weird last minute thing is like, I'm going to leave it on the table and like it's probably going to be too big for my purse and like it's not going to work. So do it if it's meaningful to you. If not, skip it and then you save money. So yeah.
Mine is very much the same mentality. And it kind of goes back to what we were just talking about is like, I really want to do the hat bar because I want people to be able to like customize their own thing and have a keepsake that they'll like use again. So if it's something like that, then go for it. But if it's just like you did it out of obligation and it's like hit or miss and like maybe some people will take it, maybe some won't, don't do it. It's a waste of money.
Yeah. Although I will say, I do love when you check into the hotel and they have a gift bag for you. Oh, I love a gift bag, especially when it's like random shit in there, like tips, liquid IV, hair ties, an Advil. It's like, yes, I needed this.
Yeah, that I agree with. That gets me way more excited than some like end of the night, like here, take home a keychain with our names on it.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
Totally agree.
Okay, number 3, private vows instead of public. What do you think?
I'm pro private vows, but this is only because I'm such a train wreck that like I know for a fact I would not be able to get through public vows and like say everything that I want to say. Therefore, that's like a moment that I really want to reserve for like Trevor and I, and then we'll do some variation, you know, for like the actual ceremony, but I'm leaning private vows because otherwise I'll ruin my makeup in about 2 seconds.
Grayson and I went to a wedding and the couple did a full separate ceremony on a different day, like different month, whole other event. And then the wedding itself was the reception that everyone was invited to. Wow. And if this couple is listening, this is not shade on your fabulous wedding because the party was insane. But I will say, I do have a small piece of my heart that I wish I had the opportunity to hear the vows, to see them up at the altar. Like, I think that moment of vulnerability that the guests get to witness with the couple is something very binding as part of the event.
Totally.
And when you get to see them be vulnerable and you are a part of that moment, I think that's where you feel so much more engaged in their relationship. You feel like lucky to have witnessed it. So I'm going to say vows, public vows.
Public vows. I also
out in the people.
I agree with that only because I'm nosy. Like this is really, I'm fully hypocritical on this because when I go to a wedding, I'm like, you better cry. Like I want to see it. You better cry. I want to be nosy. I want to know everything. But then when it comes to my own, I'm just like, no. Like,
well, there's still time for you to change your mind. So
I definitely think there needs to be like, it can't just be nothing. And that's what Trevor and I kind of agreed on. I was like, we can do like lengthier private vows, but we do need to do something so that it, you know, ties the ceremony together. You don't want to just walk up there and be like, they already did their vows. Okay, bye. Like done.
No, I have been to a wedding like that where we the guests didn't hear from the couple at all at any point in the night. Like no speeches, no vows, no anything. And it felt like it could have been plug and play any couple up there. It was like the least intimate. It was definitely odd where you're like, I know there was something missing the entire event where their personality should have been shining through. So yeah,
well, that's a huge thing too, because a lot of the people that are coming maybe haven't seen you guys interact together, you know. So like, I'm not saying you're like vetting the other person out, but like, you know, for like Trevor's extended family that I've only met like one time, you know, like it's kind of like important that you know, lay it out there. Let people know why you're marrying this person.
Yeah, tell us why.
Why? Okay, number 4, unplugged ceremonies.
I feel like people are crazy where you could make 1,000 notifications, like announcements. Do not record the ceremony. Do not have your phone up. You know your aunt is going to bring her iPad up and record the entire thing. You know your cousin, like, it's just going to happen unless you literally seal people's phones in a bag like they're at a comedy show. someone's going to be disobeying it, I think, sure, do the little announcement, like, we want you to be present and put your phones away. Like, definitely do that. But I think, like, people are still going to do what they want to do. And you're also not going to know because you're going to be focused on your partner in the moment. I think it's mostly going to be annoying for the photographer, but that's their job to, like, do what you got to do to get the shot. But I'm curious what you think about this.
I was just going to say, this hits hard because of my line of work. I've become a ruthless. I think when I first started in photography, I had a different stance on it. And I kind of viewed it as like, oh, you know, like that person really like, you know, I'm not going to tell grandma to put her photo away or whatever. I had a couple who completely changed my opinion on this because well, first of all, this was kind of on them. They didn't have anyone make an announcement about unplugged stuff. And when that's the case, it's a free-for-all. You know that like everyone's phones are going to be out because no one said anything. Even if someone does say something, you're still going to have 2 or 3 that are like, whoop.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. It just, I've never once been to a wedding where that hasn't been the case. And everybody has the unplugged signs now. But this bride made a really, really good point. And she was like, Sarah, I want you to be ruthless. I don't care if my grandma has her phone out. Like, you hit people's phones out of their hands. And she was like, you are my photos. And I was like, that changes things. And she was like, none of their photos are mine. You are my photos. And I was like, oh my God. So that changed everything. And I've actually used that because you'll get some backlash from like family members. If I'm like, I have no issue going up. Like, if you're sitting on the aisle and your phone's out, that's hard to edit out. And sometimes you're like blocking the dress and stuff. If I'm back here, I have no issue going up and being like, put your phone down. And I'll do it fast and brief. And that's it. And I'm
picturing you with like a ruler, like,
just like, nope. But yeah, I have no issue doing that. And I tell all of my girls that work for me the same exact thing. I'm like, if somebody's phone is up in the aisle specifically, if it's on the outside, I don't care as much because I'm not getting it. And I can also edit it out easier. But if you're blocking aisle, I will 100% ask you to put it down. And if you give me any pushback, I'll be like, okay, then you can explain to the bride why your phone is in all of her wedding photos. Like, you don't want to do that. And I've had people who are like, oh, okay, like, yeah.
Have you actually gotten pushback from people like, no, I need to take this photo?
Yes, I have crazy to me. Someone's aunt, and she was like 3 back. And I'm not talking like here where it's like kind of discreet. That doesn't bother me as much. I'm talking about the people that are on the aisle that want the center shot. And so they're like, that I can't edit out. And that's what was happening. And yeah, it was like 2 minutes before the ceremony started and she was trying to like film it. So her arm was over here. And I was like, ma'am, I need you to put your phone down. She was like, who are you to tell me what to do at my niece's wedding? And I was like, okay, your niece, these are your niece's photos. So if you want to tell her that that's why you did this, then fine. If you want your iPhone photos to be better than her professional wedding photos, then that's okay. But you can take that up with her after. And she was like huffed and puffed and finally put it down.
Also, those photos, I feel like never see the light of day. Like, no. I don't feel like there's any real way that people are getting those photos back. And I know there are a million apps that help you like consolidate guest photos. And I would love to hear from people like which one is their favorite and if they have found one really useful. But a lot of those photos just never get seen. And even if Auntie did get the shot, it's not going to get seen by anyone.
It's just selfish. I'm like, what are you going to do? Just like post that in the moment and like, you know, not give them a moment to post it. I'm like, what do you need? What do you need that so badly for? You don't. Get a photo with them at the reception, you know, get a cute photo of them like close up. Nobody's photos from that angle either are going to be good from their seat. You know, you're looking at someone's back and like, no, the people whose photos are going to be good are your photographers. So clear the way or I will do it for you.
Agreed. Okay, let's see. Next one is open speeches. Woof. Okay, I've been to one in particular that were open speeches, and I'm curious if this is the same for you. It just becomes like drunken karaoke speech edition where everyone and their mom wants to say something about the couple, and it becomes the most boring. Yeah. Well, entertaining if they're drunk and entertaining, but boring if it just goes on forever. My parents went to one wedding where the bride, her parents were divorced and then remarried, and all the different spouses and parents wanted to give a toast or give a speech about the bride. And so it was 4 people giving like 20-minute speeches, and it just went on and on and on. And that's too long.
No, I am so anti open speeches. It's not even funny. It's actually one of the things that I put on my list for my brides and grooms is like, do not do open speeches. Here's why. 1, it will absolutely derail any timeline, any semblance of timeline that you.
So true. Great point.
That is my biggest one. I have now had this year alone 2 different weddings where the timeline got delayed by over 40 minutes because of open speeches. And like you can literally push it so far. People are just sitting there bored. It's exactly what you said. It's drunken karaoke. That's what it turns into. It's embarrassing. Everyone's cringing. You're sitting for way too long. And then you're only left with like an hour of dancing because you were sitting there for an additional hour that you didn't need to. My dad has an unbelievable saying, which is, be bright, be brief, be gone. And
I love that.
Speech to go. He's like, every speech, be bright, be brief, be gone.
That's
and
a great thing to
live by for speeches. I'm like, keep it a minute to 2 minutes max. That's it.
But also, if you are the couple whose wedding that is and it's dragging on, then just get someone to go up to the mic and be like, thanks everybody, we're gonna get on to the next thing. Like, it's your wedding. You don't have to, even if you made the decision to do open speeches and then it's starting to go sideways, like just end it.
I've cut the last wedding, it was literally last month. I had the bride like pull me aside because I was walking behind her with my camera. This was like the 6th speech, because open speeches.
Oh my God.
Yeah, 6th speech. And it hit like we were well into like the hour of speeches. And she was like, get the DJ to stop this. And I was like, okay. And so I went over and I was like, cut it. And he was like, okay, amazing. And he was like, so sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we are done with speeches for the night. And I was like, there we go, done. Otherwise, you would derail the timeline of your entire wedding.
Yeah. And then you don't get to enjoy the other things you have mapped out, and you're probably not enjoying the speeches anyway. So
no, speeches is my least favorite part of any wedding.
Yeah, people aren't as good at speaking as they think they are.
No. And there's some people that just shouldn't public speak.
Also, not to be a downer, but if you're thinking about doing a rap and putting it to the lyric and inserting lyrics about your friend in there, just don't do it.
Don't do it. Leave that in the ideas bank. Don't do it.
Unless you are a musician in your real life, please don't do that. I have seen that, and it's not the viral YouTube moment you think it's going to be. Okay, I think we have time for one last love it or leave it. Which one do you want to do?
Ooh, let's see. I'm going to go no +1s unless married or engaged.
This is an interesting one. Our approach to +1s was very similar to what we talked about with the guest list, where if you had been with someone a very brief amount of time and we hadn't met them, and it felt like maybe it was going to be a bit of a fleeting relationship, then we did not give them a +1. But also, the time from when we sent out the invitations to when we had the wedding was 2 years because of COVID. So there were people who we did not give a +1 at the beginning. 2 years later, they're in like a serious relationship. And then that person still didn't come because we had already the reason some of that was because we had our bridal party staying on the property and there were only so many beds. So there literally wasn't room for some of their significant others. So sorry. Yeah. But it does suck if you're single and you want to bring someone and you can't. I think you just gotta I don't know. I take it friend by friend. I wouldn't do a blanket policy. I would kind of take it individually.
I think that's exactly what I was going to say. I think it's case by case, because like when we were doing ours, it's like, one of my like childhood best friends, I'm like, he absolutely deserves a +1. Like, and I trust his judgment, like, it's like, I trust that.
It's so important.
Yes. I'm like, if he does bring someone, then like, I trust that it's like normal circumstances. Whereas like my wonderful fiance was like, we were doing his side and I was like, does that person get a +1? He was like, oh, hell no. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, nope. Like, I just know he's going to bring like, whatever flavor of the week is around, and like that's it. I'm like, nope, that is exactly who shouldn't have plus ones. But obviously, if they're in like a serious relationship, if we've both met them, yes, plus one it up. I'm not gonna like just invite one part of like a relationship if they've been together for like a while.
Yeah. If they're married or engaged, then definitely.
Definitely. Yeah, exactly. That was exactly. And like even like I looked at like my cousins have been in serious relationships. None of them are engaged, but I was like, okay, they all deserve plus ones. They can bring whoever. But it's the same thing. It's case by case. It's like you got to trust that the person will bring someone who's a good time, doesn't want to do anything crazy. Yeah, they just can't be a liability. I think that's the main part of it.
Yes. Yeah. And that is the thing you're curious about. Like, who is this unknown person that's going to be, I mean, in my family, we have this saying, like, who's going to win the wedding, AKA who's going to be the memorable person that people start to tell the story about for you. If you made it this far, you're definitely part of our plannered family. So I'll tell you a very brief story to close us out, which is at my cousin's wedding, we were all down by the river hanging out, and my aunt's boyfriend was swimming nude down in the river, and he was doing like nude yoga on this rock, and everyone in the family was there, and he was just in the breeze, and he was full on plus one liability status. And then he covered up by putting on a nude colored Speedo. So
he was nude.
Yes. Yeah. So you don't want to be too restrained, but yeah, that's the plus one nightmare where you go on to win the wedding. And that's the story that my entire family tells about their wedding. So you just don't want your plus one to win the wedding.
Exactly.
Well, thank you everyone for joining for episode 4 of Yappily Ever After. We have some fun guests that we're lining up, and we're kind of getting things situated to mix it up with some other fun wedding related topics, and we're just excited to keep the pod train going. So thank you for joining, and we'll see you next time.